Let's move on to the Ime Udoka news.
Oh, shit.
The Celtics have suspended him for the entire season. The punishment is due to an intimate relationship with a female member of the organization. Now, some members of the organization became aware of the relationship in July, and later on, they learned that Ime made like remarks towards her, like the Celtics
unwanted comments.
The Celtics thought the relationship was consensual, but sources said that the woman recently accused Udoka of making unwanted comments towards her. So first off, what are your thoughts on the situation? And then after that, we'll talk about how this affects the Celtics this upcoming season. But first what are your thoughts?
This is probably the most unexpected news break this offseason, without a doubt. This is definitely something I never saw coming. I don't think anyone in the NBA community saw this coming. However, the fact that Ime is taking the suspension and we don't know the full details of it, and he's not taking it, he's not putting up a fight or anything, leads me to believe that he did something definitely that crossed the line. I don't know the full news. It has not been reported yet, so I'm not going to make assumptions on another man's character until I get the full report. Then I'll definitely adjust my stance. But as of right now, it's looking as if you take a full-length season suspension, you didn't do something regular. And I don't want to go to the full extreme, but if it's really as extreme as I'm thinking, then a full-length season is a slap on the wrist because he shouldn't have a job right now. But again, we don't have the full details. It's hard to say, but just from that perspective and him not really putting up a fight, it could get ugly.
We don't have the full details. And this is why when this came out, I was disappointed in how everybody was handling it. Not just Twitter. I mean, we know Twitter is going to go wild with it. They're going to speculate about which women were involved. There were some names that, were brought up on Twitter, and Brad Stevens, even in his press conference, called it, just bullshit Twitter stuff, because now you're dragging people into a situation where they probably weren't involved in the first place. But the instant reaction from the media, specifically Stephen A. Smith, because his first take video popped up on my feed.
He was bugging out.
Of defending Udoka to the death and saying that, if this was a white person, they would have swept it under the rug. Why is Ime, why is he in trouble for this? For one, I felt like to make that a race thing was just ridiculous. Like, if it's sexual harassment, and we're not sure if it was or not, but that's harassment nonetheless, no matter your skin color. But I thought the media's urgency to just jump on a story that they did not know anything about was stupid.
Everything's about being first. Wojnarowski dropped the graphic. He dropped the tweet. He could be facing a suspension. No other news, no other information, just so he could be first.
And this anger with people on the internet and also people in the media with the Celtics of, why would they leak this? Why would they do this? I personally don't believe the Celtics leaked this. I believe that there are some sources, and the Celtics may have wanted to get out in front of it first, but really, in the press conference, they said it perfectly. What do they have to gain from leaking this? They don't have anything to gain. All they're losing is a head coach who just took them to the finals and a bunch of bad PR. There's nothing to gain from leaking this story, but yet everybody, mainstream media, they wanted to be first on it and speak on the Celtics as an organization in a bad way. They wanted to defend Ime immediately. And then on Twitter, you have everybody being more mad at the Celtics for suspending Ime than Ime potentially doing something wrong, which I thought was the wrong way to look at the situation. And I thought the most telling thing was Matt Barnes going on his Instagram. He had posted a post defending Ime, deleted it very shortly, comes on earlier today on Instagram in his car and is saying, listen, last night I made a mistake defending Ime. I'm paraphrasing here. What he did, I can't condone. And I was in the wrong for not having that information first. For one, credit to him for taking that stance and owning up to it. But we were talking about this before the show, and Pierre said it perfectly. If Matt Barnes is getting ahead of this right now and saying, I want to detach myself from even defending Ime because he knows the full details, Ime possibly did something that I assume is going to eventually lead to him getting fired from the Celtics. That's my opinion. But as of right now, it doesn't look very good. And this not only affects the Celtics as a team this year, but it affects their organization from top to bottom.
Obviously, my first reaction was just like, I felt, why did it get leaked? You know, first reaction, I'm like, damn, why did this story come out? Where's the information? Because if you're going to leak something that big and have everybody
Where's
just
the
speculate,
substance?
where's the information? Where's all the knowledge? But like you said, media's always rushed to get it first. Stephen A. Smith jumped on. Him and Malika Andrews was going at it.
That was crazy.
It was really crazy.
I sided with Malika on that one, to be honest.
I understand why Stephen A. Smith felt like he was disrespecting him, but I did side with her in the sense of where she was coming from.
She had the right
attitude.
Can y'all explain it to me? Because I actually had it on the TV, but I missed the beginning.
So I think that Stephen A. Smith, Malika got a little bit upset because Stephen A. Smith felt like he was victim blaming. But then Stephen A. clarified his stance, and then Malika understood where he was coming from. They came to like a common ground.
But it got ugly.
But the clip that surfaced, it looked like everything was all bad, but they did eventually get to a common ground. But it, at least in my opinion, it did feel like Stephen A. was kind of trying to point the finger. He did say Ime was in the wrong in this, absolutely, and he said that. But I think Malika was more so trying to say, basically, because Stephen A. was saying that, why did this get leaked? And Malika's like, how can it not be public? Like, it's going to be public. If this big of a situation is going to get out there. Like, it's just,
you know what the problem is with Stephen A. Smith, not to cut you off? This is what happened with Stephen A. Smith. Y'all all said it correctly when y'all gave y'all opinion on it. Riv, we're going to let you finish. Being thirsty. ESPN cared more about giving it out first, the information, like Woj, and Stephen A. first take, no coincidence, no pun intended. They wanted to react to it first. And what happened with Stephen A., instead of him doing what Matt Barnes did, he started to put himself in a hole of saying, no, I'm gonna stand. I just think this was wrong. Because I kept seeing the show all day. That's why I don't even watch that shit. But because Stephen A. was defending this shit to the death, I'm like, I gotta see what he's saying. And I want to see the press conference. And I saw a part of the Malika Andrews shit where he did reiterate his points. But even in a situation that's getting this big and there's still so much we don't know, why are you still in a rush to fucking defend some shit you don't know all the pieces to? Instead of just being like Matt Barnes, or if you do know the information, and if you don't, what's bad? What's wrong with shutting the fuck up? So that's the thing with Stephen A. that I don't understand, and that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like Stephen A., instead of just saying, hey, you know what, I maybe spoke too fast. He got too much pride to do some shit like that. So he just gonna keep going and going and going and going, and then he gonna flip the shit like, no, he is wrong. Nobody's to blame but him. What I'm talking about is this. We don't give a fuck about that shit, then. That's not who give a fuck, then. We talking about what happened.
Yeah.
And that shit.
And there's not, like you said, like at this point in time, all we know is that Ime is suspended for the season. He's not far from the Celtics yet. And that a woman came out and said Ime gave her an unwanted comment. And that's what we know right now.
Even with the Matt Barnes shit, like, shout out to him for owning up that he was wrong. But I feel like certain people, they be so quick to just want to defend the black man or want to just defend the guy they cool with. We don't have no information when this shit first came out. So why not just sit back and wait instead of, oh, nah, I know Udoka as a man. I know him personally. No way he could have done this. Instead of just, you know what, like you said, I'm going to just shut the fuck up. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just wait. Everybody want to be in everybody's business all the time. That's the problem. We always want to just know everything. Sit back, relax, just wait. The information going to get out. We got a year. It's going to happen eventually until you find out both sides. Because even though Ime is getting charged with this investigation, even though he's being accused of this, I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know if it's a fact, if it's a fiction, because there's been situations where stuff like this has been lied about. There's been situations where it's been the truth. So I don't know what's going on.
Only reason why it's seeming as if this is fact is because he accepted the 1-year penalty already.
Yeah.
He's not fighting that.
I mean, he can't.
So something happened that either he doesn't feel confident that he can defend himself or he knows he did some other shit.
But he, how could he fight it?
Well, we know for a fact that
Sean swore down that he didn't do what he did. He tried to fight 24, 25 allegations.
But I mean, this ain't
that could be him
ain't
being stubborn though.
Yeah.
no,
This
but
ain't in a
Ime's
court
not
of
being,
law or nothing though.
No,
Yeah, it's
I'm
not.
just thinking totally just trying to correlate two situations.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Well, it is fact that he did indeed have an affair.
Yeah, no, that's
Right.
That's
and
locked
that's
in.
against probably the team conduct anyway. So you can't fight that right there.
No, yeah,
That happened.
He broke the
and that's-
code. Like
Yeah.
whatever the team code was, he was getting in trouble regardless. So he broke the code. Whatever happened after that. Now this is just extra shit on if he's gonna get fired or not. This is the extra, but he was gonna get suspended regardless because he broke the code of conduct for the team. Like that was gonna happen. So
Because a lot of what they were saying is if it was consensual, then why are you getting a full season's length suspension?
no, yeah, the fishiness.
It's just
But this is why everybody should
It's
just
exactly. That's why it makes no sense to try and rush to make an opinion or just to have an opinion put out into the internet. Relax. It's the simple facts.
ESPN does a lot of that, putting their guys out there in the front just to be first. And it's sad for the guys who work for them to just be so quick to, all right, well, I'm gonna do it because it's just clickbait. Like it really is sad because
They
I
go
know
for it,
ESPN
though.
told Stephen A. and Stephen A. was gold for it. Like, okay with this. I'm
And
gonna
did
do
you
it.
guys? It was funny because I saw the tweet by Stephen A. Smith too after
I didn't even see him
after
tweet.
they announced that Ime was suspended for the season, because first the report came out,
Yep.
then it was Ime was suspended for the season. Stephen A. tweeted, "Oh, like I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know what he tweeted exactly, but he was like, "Oh, I'm fired up. I can't wait for First Take tomorrow. You guys better
10
tune
a.m.
in. You guys
Tune
better
in.
tune
Yeah,
in for
tune
what I'm
in.
about to come
Yeah.
with." You know what I'm saying? Like, hyping up the show. I just think it's just it sucks. Like, we're talking about people's like actual personal lives and a serious situation, and using it to hype up your show and act like you have some grandiose thing to say when he doesn't know the full story of what happened.
I haven't spoke on this. I'm gonna have to tomorrow for our podcast. I'm just cut from a cloth, and any time in life, if I don't have the full information, I shut the fuck up. I don't know Ime Udoka. I don't know the young woman. I don't have no affiliation with the Boston Celtics. There's no reason for me to be thirsty to pick a side or formulate an opinion. And because of the position I'm in with my platform, my voice, I just take the responsibility of making sure whatever I speak on and whatever opinion I do formulate, it has to be supported with facts. That's number one. Secondly, it's a lot to take from this. The way that I grew up, because my mom was a teen mom and my aunts and uncles were young, I grew up around older people. So I always look at people's shit and I take what not to do. And all we just talked about with ESPN allows me to understand to never be that damn thirsty. Instead of trying to be first, be right and be correct. Secondly, the internet is dangerous and people got to get off Twitter and stop trying to be fucking investigators, because that woman who they was trying to say was the lady is not the lady. And now she got to walk in her life and deal with that shit because motherfuckers on Twitter was trying to say that's who he was having an affair with. And it was oh so wrong. That shit is the stupidest shit I've seen. I'm talking about, I'm seeing posts, I don't blame Ime. This who Ime was with. They was doing this. Like, it's so crazy how people will pick up this thing right here and talk a bunch of bullshit as if they literally was in the fucking room. I cannot believe it. And yeah, the Boston Celtics, though Ime is wrong, and this is all because of him and whatever the situation ends up being, the Boston Celtics got to find some better way to handle this, because I don't know what the fuck is going on still. I don't know what's going on. Because if he did something so bad, which is what it feel like, why is he suspended? Why isn't he out of the
And why
league?
don't
Because
they
if
know
it's that,
fast enough? That's the problem.
yeah. So I'm confused, because if you did something of what I'm feeling like or the way it sounded, automatic firing and everybody's not going to let you back in the league. Kind of like the Miles Bridges situation, right?
Yep.
Where the Hornets ain't extend him and no other team touched him. That would be the same thing. But then it's like, if it ain't that bad, or if it's not what people are making it seem, why is it 100 game an entire season, and why y'all talking in fucking code? Like,
it's
can some,
weird.
even Matt Barnes was like, it's just not for me to put out there. But man, it's like, can somebody talk? Can somebody talk? If not, I can't be mad at people that's just speculating on Twitter, because at some point the Celtics, Ime, or whatever, gonna have to speak up. Shout out to Brad Stevens for holding down the women in that organization. By the way, 'cause
Absolutely.
that's
Even
just
Kendrick
not-
Perkins said he know what happened. He know. He just didn't want to say. It's like
Yeah,
everybody know.
Here we go.
It-
We about to have everybody saying
See,
they know what happened, but
Isn't
nobody
that
saying
interesting?
nothing. By the way,
Isn't that interesting? Everyone, when the news first broke, everyone was so quick to formulate an opinion. Now everyone has the facts, but no one wants to say anything.
Weird.